Okay. Hi, everybody. I see you coming in. Oh, Martin. Hello. Martin was just here doing a one-day adventure. Oh, my goodness. That's so great. Go ahead and start chatting, everybody, because I just absolutely love that when you're doing that with me. And yes. From Rebecca. Hi, Rebecca. Oh, I'm so happy to see a bunch of you. Barbara, hello. Sherry, hello. Katrina. Chris is on again. Chris is on. Martin and his wife have been on all of the master classes. This is so great. I just absolutely love this. And oh, all right. So great to see all of you coming on. So let's go ahead. Let's take a deep breath together. And just come into your body. Be very present, just right here, right now. This is going to be a very wonderful, wonderful class. Oh, I see lots more people still coming on. Oh, so I'm Deborah Stengel, founder of Sedona Soul Adventures. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm just so happy to have all of you here today. We're calling these master classes Reinventing Yourself in This New Age, because I believe so strongly, and I know it, and I see it all the time now, that we're all being called on to really become the best version of ourselves possible and to figure out what that is going to take. This is going to be an absolutely fantastic masterclass today. They've all been so wonderful, but I'm so excited about this one. It's called Take Charge of Your Inner World Through Heart Coherence. And I know from my own experience, and it's so funny because it's so interesting. This morning, starting about a half an hour ago, I started feeling all this fear, and that isn't how I feel about these. I am excited to do them, and I got on with Janine because we always meet a little early, and she was telling me that yesterday she was feeling a lot of fear from the collective, just, that everything. Oh, and so we did the heart coherence technique together for a few minutes before we started. And I have to tell you, it just made all the difference. And that is what this does, and why it is such an amazing process, because it helps you just become more calm, more peaceful. It brings in more joy. It reduces stress. It helps you meet your challenges. We really were connecting with our hearts and connecting with all of you before we were starting. And so it's just so powerful. So I just love it. And this is going to be, I'm so excited for you to experience Janine's work. And everything has just been there's just so much energy up right now. This has been such an incredible week. And we had the lunar eclipse that happened yesterday. That was such a big one. And so interesting to me, we announced our new one-day soul experience just on last Saturday's masterclass, and then on Sunday's newsletter. And as of today, we've had a whole bunch of people already complete their one-day soul experience. Some of them virtually, most of them here in Sedona. Some have been individuals, some have been couples. Janine was just telling me she had an incredibly powerful experience as a practitioner with one of our people yesterday. So isn't that wild that in a week that kind of thing can happen? And I just know what's going on, that people are so hungry for transformation right now. I could just feel it with everyone. And then yesterday I went into the office to greet one of the people that were doing a one-day experience. And actually, Janine, it was the person that you were working with, and she was talking about how she wants to come back in the fall possibly and do a 3-day, a full-on soul adventure. And as I was talking to her, I realized that my own personal journey was one where when I came to Sedona for the first time 21 years ago, I did a session with someone who is still one of our wonderful practitioners. She's actually doing a master class for us in a few weeks. I did a 1-day with her. I didn't realize it at the time. I did. And in that 1 day, I got the message I had to change my life. And I mean, for the 5 years before that, I had prayed and meditated and said, God, please tell me what to do. I'm so unhappy. I hate being a lawyer. I know I'm not living my life purpose. Tell me what to do. And I would actually hear a little voice that would say, you need to leave your law practice. And I just wouldn't listen to that voice. I would always just immediately go, I can't do that. How can I do that? I'm $50,000 in debt. I'm the sole support of our family. I don't have any savings. How can I possibly leave my law practice? But this time in that session, suddenly my high self came in as Isis, the winged Egyptian goddess. And she said, you either leave your law practice now or you're going to die like your mother did. And I was exactly the age my mother was when she got sick and then died of cancer 5 years later. So that time I got the message. I hadn't been getting the message for 5 years. That time I got it. I went home. 2 weeks later, $50,000 dropped out of the sky. I'll tell you that story some other time, but it's in my book. And 6 months later, I closed my law office. I started coming out to Sedona to do my own personal healing. So I got this huge life-changing message from a 1-day experience. And everything with Sedona Soul Adventures has come from that 1-day experience. And then next, I started coming to Sedona. I started coming kind of half time. I would come here for a month. I'd do 1 or 2 different healing sessions with different practitioners that I was finding. And then I would go home and then I would come out here for another month and I would do 1 or 2 other sessions. And then 2 weeks before 9/11, I was doing another session here and Isis came in again and said to me, it's time to move to Sedona. And I said, for what? And my experience is they never show you the whole thing. They always show you just the next step. So I moved here, sat here for 6 months going, okay, I did what you told me to do. Now what? And then I started having dreams about this. I was shown how I could take what had happened for me and intensify that into 3 days. So the joke at the office is that my soul adventure took 3 years. For everyone else, it's 3 or 4 days. So when I spoke with this client yesterday and we were talking about, coming out to do a full soul adventure after her 1-day experience, I realized, oh my gosh, this is what I did. I had a life-changing 1-day experience, and then I did a full soul adventure. And you can do the same thing, but you don't have to take 3 years like I did. And you don't have to do a full soul adventure after your 1-day experience, but I'll bet you'll want to, because that's what's happened so far. That's what everyone's telling us they want to do. So it's just amazing to me. I love all these awarenesses, and everything that happens. So, okay, I kind of talked longer than I thought I was going to. Let's get started. This is going to be such a wonderful masterclass. For those who were joining me on Facebook Live each morning when we did the high vibration upliftment meditation for the planet for 60 days, you're already a little familiar with the heart coherence technique because we started each meditation with that. And so many people told me how much you loved it. And I'm so happy that Janine is here with us today to really go deeper into that with you. So let me introduce Janine Goby. She is an absolutely amazing person. She's one of our incredible master practitioners. She's helped so many people over the years. She was a very high-powered executive for many years. And then at the age of 35, she was having heart problems, all kinds of stress, and she left and she got into doing body talk, which is one of the amazing things she does for us, as well as the heart math techniques. And I just love the work that she does with our people. And Janine is also just someone who totally walks the talk. She's a devout meditator. She does daily devotional and teaching work. She's the mother of 3 children. She's really a walking example of leading a spiritual and purpose-driven life. So I am so happy to have her here with us today. Hi, Janine. So happy to have you here.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you for that beautiful introduction and for sharing some of your story as well.
So I am just going to turn it over to you.
Okay, perfect. We are going to spend our time here together on really deepening into this technique of heart coherence from heart math. But before I start, I just want to give a little bit more about my journey, of how I came from a world that was so different than the work I do now, which is really aligned with my purpose. And so I'll just take a couple of minutes on this because I really feel for everyone who comes to these, their soul adventure. I really relate to the kind of transformation that they want to have and really see the possibilities from my own experience. So as Deborah mentioned, I worked in consulting and 14-hour days, very intense work. Sometimes I would be on 4 airplanes a week. It was very intense work. I probably started going gray when I was 30, something like that. And by the time I was 35, I had heart difficulties, almost completely gray hair, in fact. And not only that, my blood pressure was so high that I was having to take it daily. And I only saw my children for 1 hour a day. And it just became apparent that all of these heart difficulties, the difficulties with my health, were because I was living out of sync with my life purpose. And as soon as that came to awareness, then I made that switch. And when you make that switch to live in alignment with your life purpose, what's amazing is that everything flows into that direction. Stepping into your life purpose just it's like it brings all the lovingness and all of the powers of the universe together to support you in what you need for that transition. So it was remarkable how easeful that was. And it meant moving from a big city to a small rural town for me for a time. It meant changing countries. I moved back to Canada, where I was from. I left work altogether and just began work in philanthropy, assisting in the nonprofit area. But a few things that I think are really key in this. And one is there are always indications of what your life purpose is. For me, I had always wanted to be a nurse as a child. I had, instead of going to business school, I'd considered actually going to medical school instead. Even in my work in the corporate world, always I was focused on healing those around me and healing those companies and having them operate in the best ways possible. All indications of what I was actually fully meant to be doing with my life. And I want to say that some people said, "Oh, I'm so glad that you've now found your purpose." But really, you are always also doing what you need to be doing. The skills I learned then were very important to informing what I do now. And just like with you, Deborah, that the work you were doing as a lawyer very much assisted with everything that you're doing now. So there really are no mistakes. And everywhere you are is really perfect. And following your heart, following your intention, always will bring forth exactly what you need as the next step on the journey. And with so many people who come on their Sedona Soul Adventure, I just see that beautiful opening. It's their intention that is coming through and getting them to see just the right practitioners at just the right time in their lives. And it's amazing how much it just begins to unfold for them so quickly and smoothly. And Deborah, you spoke about my spiritual life as well. And one of the things I've really come to know is that your life is your spiritual path. Your life is your spiritual path. Those things that you come up against that are difficult to handle, those are exactly the life lessons that you needed to learn and are bringing you everything that you needed for the next step in your journey. And you always, just by following that heart, can move to the next step. And that's why I love this heart coherence technique, because it's all about learning to follow that innate wisdom that's there in the heart and aligning the heart and the mind and the emotions such that you're in a place of inner peace and inner calm to be able to take those steps. So thank you all for listening. And now we're going to go into the heart coherence as a technique. You'll see that in this session, it's going to be very experiential. So rather than teach about the technique, we are going to multiple times actually use the technique of heart coherence and come into our hearts. And I'd like to start us off now by doing that. And then I'll come back and speak a little bit about the science of this, because it is a very science-based approach to reducing stress, making better decisions, moving into your full creativity, and many other things that Deborah had indicated in the information about this session. So I want us to start, you may want to start by simply closing your eyes. Allow for yourself to become very present, feeling yourself sitting on your chair, becoming just aware of your inner world. And letting everything of the day simply fall away to become very present here in this call and with this technique of heart coherence. And now simply bring your awareness to your heart. You may find it helpful to put one hand or two hands on your heart. If you find that helpful, you can do so now. So simply bring your awareness to your heart. And then imagine that the breath is flowing into and out of your heart or your chest area. And simply breathing a little deeper and a little slower than usual. You may want to breathe in for 4 seconds, out for 4 seconds, or whatever rhythm is helpful to you. That's perfect. And now make a sincere attempt to actually bring up in the heart a feeling of appreciation or gratitude for someone or something in your life. Actually feeling it right in the heart. It may start off as a memory of a person, an event, a situation when you felt that appreciation. But then bring that feeling right into the heart, letting it reside there and light the heart like a fire. And then with that fire in the heart now lit. You can allow that feeling of appreciation to begin to spread throughout your body, bringing a lightness, a light, bringing those heart qualities to all the cells and all parts of your body. Now, appreciation as an emotion is very important. Appreciation is like a bridge. It takes us from the perceptions and judgments of the mind into that reality of infinite love that's always present in everything. Appreciation is like a bridge. It can take us from just the world of form, what our eyes can just see, to the essence of love and creation that is actually found within all of form. And so, no matter what it is that we're coming up against in our environment that is bringing up some stress or some conflict, if we can find something to appreciate about it, it's like a little opening that can help move everything so we begin to see the greater context and therefore can make the best decisions right from our heart. So you may even be able to really feel at this point that joining of our intention together to be in that place of the heart and feel that power of that group intention of us all coming here together in that heart alignment. And so, right here, right now, while we're in this place of heart coherence together, let's just be that radiance of appreciation for all of us here as a group. Taking that heart coherence one step further to just be that radiance of appreciation for all of those here on this call. We don't need to know who each other is because consciousness handles all that. All we need to do is intend to join together, joining our hearts together to be that appreciation, be that compassion, be that radiance of love for each other. And one of the beautiful things about this technique is that when you come into this place of the heart and are just being that radiance of the heart qualities, there are shifts and changes that happen beyond what you could imagine because you are really at the highest level opening yourself up to be a conduit of that lovingness out to the world. And through that, there could somewhere someone suddenly feels some hope that they didn't feel before. Someone has an easing of pain that they didn't have before. Someone suddenly has a spark of inspiration that wasn't there before. Simply because you are being that radiance of that compassion and heart quality to the world. And heart math itself uses the statement often that their focus is to help people be the best version of themselves more often. And one of the things that I absolutely love about this heart coherence technique is that actually it is a very valuable approach, no matter where one is in terms of who they are at that moment. So, if you're feeling a lot of anxiety and a lot of fear, which is quite prevalent right now, and you actually feel that that is who you are, you're really feeling that fear is what you are, then this technique helps to tremendously ease that. If you no longer really feel that you particularly are your emotions, but you are more that which is aware that they are there, then this heart coherence technique helps you remain in that place of being very present, being that awareness that can then handle everything that arises from within. And then at another level, when you really see and begin to have those glimmers that you are something even so much greater than that, something beyond even description, that you are that presence of infinite love, this technique is still absolutely valuable to keep you in that place of presence and in the place of the presence of love at all times. And so it serves at all times, at all levels of our development and our evolution as a soul. So now bring yourself back into full presence here in the room, wherever you are, in full presence here with me. And we'll come back and do that technique many times. And I'll also be working individually with several of you, which will be very wonderful and helpful to all who are on the call. But I'd like to bring us back right now to share some of the research that has been shown about this technique. And then we'll go back in and we'll be practicing this technique many times. So, what is coherence? Coherence is the aligning of our heart, our mind, and our nervous system, which is then so tied to our emotions, into a single wave pattern. And in alignment, in coherence, it looks like this. And that's when it's actually measured with EEGs, electrodes attached, all those medical devices that are used to measure our heart rhythm, our nervous system, and the other ways that they measure the frequencies of at an energetical what's happening in our body. Now, when you are in a state of stress or fear, anxiety, discomfort, indecision, what happens is the heart forces, the nervous system, the mind are actually all operating at different frequencies. And so it can look very chaotic when it's actually measured. And I didn't bring charts today, but when it's actually measured, you see that they're all operating in a state of chaos and not working in sync together. But in this state of heart coherence, many, many studies have shown that there's an alignment of the heart, the mind, and the nervous system into this single wave pattern. And it has been found that it is that wave pattern, it is that state of coherence that is the place of inner healing, and it is the place of the heart. When we're not in a state of coherence, the heart is actually sending chaotic messages up to the mind. It has been discovered actually now several years ago that you actually do have a heart brain, and there's more activity, more neural brain activity that goes from the heart up to the mind than the other way. So if the heart is not in a state of coherence, it is actually sending very chaotic messages up to the mind. And when that is happening, it's very difficult to make the best decision, to make a decision that is in alignment with your heart and with where you're really meant to be going and what you're meant to be doing. And it's hard to make a decision that is in alignment with what is actually the most loving thing for your own self. And that is very important because there is really nothing we can hardly truly know in the world except if we're totally authentic and totally honest with ourselves. What is it that feels the most loving to us? What is it that feels the most loving to us? And that will always bring you to a place where you can make a decision that actually brings the most love to everyone else, because you can't guess at what is the most loving for everyone else. But there is no exception to love. Love always brings more love. So the more we can be in alignment with what brings the most love to us, what feels the most loving in our heart, the more all around us will be brought into that place of love. Now, that brings me to just one other, and there's two other studies and scientific pieces of the heart math technique I'd like to share, and then I'll go into the one on one sessions. The heart coherence technique is tremendously valuable at bringing one back into a state of presence and calm and inner peace when you have had a stressful situation. So, for example, it's used very often now among firefighters. Studies were done among firefighters, and they found that if this heart technique of simply bringing awareness to the heart, allowing the breath to flow in and out of the heart or chest area, breathing deeper and slower than usual, and then feeling those feelings of appreciation, those four very simple steps. If they did that as they were putting on their equipment after hearing that there was a fire and they're busy putting on their boots and coats and getting into their fire trucks, if they would do that technique as they were putting on their equipment, then they found that the stress left their body within 1 hour of that firefighting incident being over, whereas otherwise the stress was still in their bodies 8 hours later. So 8 hours later, that means that they're carrying the stress back to their families. They're carrying it in their own bodies in a way that's not healthy for their bodies for so much longer. And otherwise, with this technique, it's been found that the stress after a stressful event leaves within an hour at the most, and that's with a fire, fighting a fire. So you can imagine with the everyday smaller stresses we come up against, we can just have that stress be gone immediately, which has all kinds of health benefits. There is a very other important thing I wanted to share about the heart coherence technique that you really don't see that much when you just research the literature on it in heart math. And that is that our hearts seek to be in this place of inner peace. And it is such an innate drive to be in this place of inner peace that all the studies that heart math did showed that if only one person in a room is in the place of heart coherence, all the other hearts, one by one, will join with that one heart in a state of coherence. So imagine the impact of that among your own family. If you, in your own house, in your own family, can come into a place of heart coherence, you don't need even to tell anyone about it. And the other hearts around that dinner table will seek to join and will one by one join in that place of coherence. As you're getting your children ready for school, if you can come into a place of heart coherence, one by one, their hearts join with that. The same is true in business meetings. Many studies were done in business meetings that showed that all the hearts would join with the one heart in a state of coherence. So it's a tremendously powerful technique because it is the natural state of our heart. And now, interestingly, this frequency I talked about, this wave pattern, it actually is the same frequency as the frequency of the earth. And so perhaps in the past we more naturally stayed in this place, but now with all the different signals, everything going on electromagnetically, we are not naturally as aligned with that frequency of the earth, but this technique helps bring us to that place. So it really helps us be that best version of ourselves. And at the absolute highest level of that, that is helping us actually be that radiance of love in the world in any way that we're called to be. So what could be better than that? So, and now I would like to work with quite a few of you, at least three. And as you come on to work with me, Deborah is going to call on you. And I just wanted to remind you to put your speaker, unmute yourself, turn your video on, because we would all love to see and hear you while I'm working with you. So
Let's go ahead and raise your hand. Anyone who would like to work with Janine. And okay. Mary Lisa, let's bring you on. Can you unmute yourself and bring in your video? Oh, that's pretty. Can you, okay, we need to have you unmute. And do you have your video on so we can see you? Do you see the microphone?
oh,
There we go. Now we can hear it. Oh, there we go.
And here I am.
Excellent.
Wonderful.
All right. Yay. So I'm going to go ahead and go off so you guys aren't looking at me. Go ahead, Janine.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So nice to be here with you, Mary Lisa.
Oh,
Wonderful.
so nice to see you. Thank you.
Yes. Well, just before we get started here, I want to just remind everyone on the call that everything that I do here with Mary Lisa is very applicable to you too, because we are going to be practicing going into this technique, and you'll do the same. And as I'm asking Mary Lisa questions about her situation, and we're using this technique to come into that place of heart coherence, all of you simply for yourself go into your own inner place answering those questions. And she's kind of like, this work is just like her being a surrogate for all of us. So Mary, yes. So Mary Lisa, tell me, I want to work with at least 3 people, but just tell me in a few lines, what do you come up against that leads to stress in your life? Is there a sort of a one big situation that you find is most stressful?
Well, I'm retired, so I don't have a lot of stress, but I am over 65. I do worry about COVID. But really, right now, I'm just really feeling stuck in
Okay.
a lot of ways. And so I was really surprised to be called on, but I think this is going to help.
Yes.
I have a second career in mind that I could start, but I haven't done. I haven't done what I need to do. I did breath work last night and fell asleep. It's like that feeling of, I have an angel that's been very helpful to me.
Okay.
I hear from him. His name's Antonio. But I haven't been connecting. I feel disconnected, and because of that, I feel very disquieted.
Okay.
So when I was just doing this now, I was like, this is what I need, because I have a really hard time. I have a friend who says the questions I should say is, where am I here? What time is it now? And I don't do that. I say, where am I? I'm in the middle of doing, I'm running.
Okay.
The truth is, I have no pressure.
Yeah.
Except what I create and what I generate.
All right. Okay, sounds good. So I'm going to lead you through this approach, because this heart coherence technique is very helpful. It's the first step always, really, whether you know it or not, of coming into that place of becoming more aware of what is that inner voice wanting you to take? What steps are you meant to be taking? And so, for example, yesterday when I was working with a client on a one-day soul adventure, that was the big question. We use this technique to lead her into a place of the heart so she could ask, what career choice am I meant to make now? So I'm going to lead you through this, and you can either keep your eyes open or closed. Ultimately, with this technique, you begin to practice it enough that you keep your eyes open, but initially it's helpful to see your eyes closed. So to have your eyes closed if you really want to focus on the heart. So I'm going to lead you through it. That's perfect, Mary Lisa. So simply bring your awareness to your heart. Imagine that the breath is flowing into and out of your heart or your chest area. And everyone, remember, do this along with us. And simply breathing a little deeper and a little slower than usual. You might want to breathe in for 4 seconds and out for 4 seconds, or whatever pattern is good for you. And now, make a sincere attempt to bring up right in the heart a feeling of appreciation or gratitude for someone or something that's in your life. Simply allowing those feelings of appreciation to then spread throughout your body and to really light that fire in the heart. Now, from that place of the heart, that place of coherence, simply ask within of the heart, what is it that is most needed for me to be unstuck? What would be the most effective and efficient step for me to take right now? And you simply wait, putting aside all judgment, and just wait to see what comes, whether it's a picture or words. And when you're ready, simply share with us what arose.
It was just, you know what to do. You just have to do it.
And isn't that true so often?
Yeah, I mean, and I do know I have steps that I need to do, and it's just to take that first. I just have to do it.
That's right. And sometimes you see fears or resistances, they come up. The only way to work through it is to feel them and do it anyway.
You know, it was
Do it
that.
anyway.
Did you ever see that Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade?
I do not.
There's a scene at the end, and he's standing over this chasm, and it's something about the fearful man has faith, and he steps off into this chasm, but there's a bridge that is obscured that he couldn't see. And that was the image. That always is the image that comes to me about faith. And that's the image that came. It was like, just step off. So I just have to do it.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, and you have that capacity. Just do it. It was beautiful to be here with you today. And thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
God bless you.
Mary Lisa, you're not going to believe this, Mary Lisa. I tell that story in my book about that movie. When I was right at the moment, I had been told that I needed to move to Sedona, and it's like, what? and I was scrolling. It was like on a Sunday afternoon, and I was just, channel surfing, and there was that movie, and it came on, and literally within moments was when that scene came on, where you have to, and I'm having chills saying this to you, and what it says is you must take the leap of faith, and then suddenly, and he looks down and it looks like certain death, and then he just does this thing, and you can watch him centering himself. You realize that? I'm now, for the first time, I'm realizing he was bringing himself into coherence. I'm realizing this for the first time. he
Amazing.
brought himself into coherence, and then he took that step, and suddenly that bridge that he couldn't see was there.
Mhm.
So it's so amazing when you said that. I'm like, oh my God, that's in my book. So thank you. So
Thank you.
thank you.
Oh
Thank
my
you.
gosh.
And I just want to ask you one more question. Is it true that you already know
Yes,
what to do? Yeah.
I do.
Okay.
I do. I mean, I'm a life coach, and when I retired, I really didn't follow up on my practice, and I
Uh-huh.
know exactly the things that I
Okay.
have to do.
You know what to do.
I just
I
haven't done
love it. I love it. I love it. Okay.
Oh
Thank
my
you so much.
Thank
This was so
you.
great.
Oh, and thank you, Judy.
So Janine, so everybody raise your hand again, whoever would like to work with Janine. And Rachel was the first one. So let's get Rachel on here. So Rachel, go ahead and unmute yourself and come on. And while we're doing that, Janine, would you please, some people asked, would you please say again briefly the 4 steps? And Rachel, can you put your video on so we can see you? There you are. Yay. Oh my goodness, you're so pretty.
Hi, Rachel.
So nice to meet you guys.
And
So can
yes,
you
I will
say that?
the steps. And
Okay.
Richard, I'm wondering if, as I say these 4 steps, if you could type them into chat so people can write them down.
That would be great.
And
That
once
would be
you
great.
see them in print, you'll realize that I'm leading everyone through these 4 things quite a few
Yeah.
times in the session. So the first is bring your awareness to your heart. Bring your awareness to your heart. The
Let's go
second,
through them quickly. Yeah.
bring your awareness to your heart. Imagine the breath is flowing into and out of your heart or your chest area. And then breathing a little deeper and a little slower than usual. And then the final step is to bring up in the heart a feeling of appreciation, gratitude, or compassion, a life-affirming heart quality in the heart. And I see Rachel is doing those steps right now. Preparation.
And I will go off. So thank you, Rachel. Back to you, Janine.
Thank you. Well, Rachel, beautiful to have you here. Thank you for raising your hand.
Thank you.
And so, Rachel, what was it that drew you to raise your hand? What is it in your life that feels like it's a stressor or source of anxiety or not working so well for you?
Well, first off, the reason why I rose my hand is because I'm scared to be seen and to be vulnerable. And so I was like, I bit the bullet and I just did it.
Yeah.
Because I've been used to feeling invisible in certain contexts in relationship and not owning my power. So I think the reason why I rose my hand, and it also ties into my purpose here, and hopefully, you can help me remove those blockages within my heart, because I'm very cognitive. Like, I'm a very cognitive person, and I'm anxious. And those 2 things block the felt sense in myself, in my body.
Right.
And so living in myself, like my mind's like running a mile a minute, my heart's telling me one thing, my body's telling me another thing, to be able to really come into alignment and make the next step in my life, whether that's to move out of LA or what career I want to move into, because I just graduated from college.
Okay.
So all these things are just running through my mind, and like, to take the next step, I need to come into that regulation and coherence.
Perfect. And it's so beautiful that you're aware of the importance of coming into the heart, because heart is really the source of inspiration and creativity. And who doesn't want to live their life in that way of being inspired? And inspired, what does that actually mean? In spirit. In spirit, coming into our heart means aligning all parts of us with our own higher self, which already knows everything that we need to be doing in life and is trying to draw us forward to that ultimate purpose. So
the state of flow, that's how I call it.
That's right, in the flow. And heart coherence brings you definitely into the flow. And so when it's a situation like you don't want to be seen, you're afraid to have your authentic self moving forward, then of course that actually comes up many, many times in a day. It's not just a one big decision, a big career choice. It's actually something that you face then regularly. You even face it when you're on social media. Who am I and what can I show to the world? So it's not even just when you're facing people, most likely. And so with you and with everyone, really, this technique will help every time you are about to enter into what you perceive as a stressful situation. And if you incorporate it into daily life, that's when it really has such a big power of change. So you can do this. It's only those 4 steps. It only takes a couple seconds. So you can start to do it many times a day before an interaction with someone. So let's practice it here together. Is there one particular situation that has been coming up for you where you feel afraid to be authentic and to show who you really are? And let's work with that one situation.
I think it's being seen by others. I don't know if that's
Good.
the right answer, but that's just what came out. It's just being seen by others and cultivating those deep ties and knowing who I am to stand in my power, regardless of who else is around me.
Wonderful. Okay, sounds good. So let's just right now bring your awareness to your heart. Just as you're doing, you can close your eyes, and all of those who are gathered here with us, I'll follow along and do this for yourself. So simply bringing awareness to your heart. And now imagine that the breath is flowing into and out of your heart or your chest area. And breathing a little deeper and a little slower than usual. And now make a sincere attempt to bring up in the heart a feeling of appreciation or gratitude or another heart quality like compassion. And feel that right in the heart. It's like it actually lights a fire in the heart. The heart begins to feel warm and glow, vibrate at a different level when you feel that in the heart. And now from this place of heart coherence, I want you to simply picture yourself. Let's begin to develop the neural pathways of a new way of being. I want you to picture yourself being with others right now in this place of the heart. Allowing any ideas and any worry, anything, concepts of mind to fall away. And simply imagine yourself with other people in this place of the heart, present in the heart. Because from this place of the heart, the mind is in aligned with the heart and the emotions and with one's own highest self. And so the mind will always know what to do and say because it's in alignment with your own heart and your own highest self. And you can even right now visualize that you're interacting with these other people in a way that is full of life, full of inspiration of who you are. And that all is naturally just happening in that flow. And when you're ready, just bring your awareness back here to the room. and just share with us that experience of what that was like.
Well, first off, I got a little emotional. Some things that came up for me, the first thing that popped into my mind was that my own perfectionism and the way things appear to others is a blockage. And also my fear is a blockage. My fear of repeating the past. I just got out of, well, it was 6 months ago, I got out of a pretty toxic relationship. And before that was another toxic relationship. And so I've noticed my pattern in repeating this and have taken ownership in that. But I fear that I'm not healed enough to get into other relationships and to really trust people and to allow myself to be seen. But I have to take that leap, you know. The woman before was talking about taking that leap of faith and just jumping off because there's a bridge, you know. And I don't know, the one thing that I want is to feel safe with others, because I've done so much work these past months feeling safe within myself. And so to invite others, you know, I would hope that I've done enough work, but it still is that fear of like, well, I don't know what the outcome's going to be. I don't know.
So you can, well, thank you for that. And so you can, are you willing to use this technique then before interactions with others for a while and really start to develop a new way with others?
I think that I can. Yeah, because I feel like much more calm, and I knew there was something like when the webcam was like closed and I could just be in my own space. Like I was like fidgeting with my hair. I was like I could just tell I was anxious, but being here, being seen, like it puts me in a place of accountability for how I'm feeling. And I feel like if I can help myself be more accountable to doing this practice, like it'll just regulate me, and where I go into these new contexts, like I'll know my truth and be able to stand in it more.
Good. So good. That is perfect. So what I want you to do is I want to see, just set that intention of maybe start off with 3 times a day before interactions with others. Just do this technique and you'll see it all begins to flow from the heart. You are enough. You've done enough work. And remember that even in this place of the heart, all the other hearts will seek to join with that. So you will naturally be in a place of more alignment with other people, and you have that capacity to bring them into the place of the heart too. And you'll just naturally find yourself aligning with those in that place of the heart rather than toxic relationships. So God bless you on your path.
Thank you so much.
You're beautiful. Thank you.
And Rachel, I saw your energy get bigger as you were doing this. So let me ask you, do you feel stronger than you did a few minutes ago?
Yeah, I feel like I'm not giving my power away to people to validate me. I'm not basing my worth off of relationships. I'm using them as a link to further deepen my connection with myself. And it's super crazy because doing this, like I'm so cognitive about it. I research everything. I know it. But the felt sense is what these breathers really get me. And that's why I cry every freaking time, you know, because the feeling comes in and my cognitive mind just goes out for just 2 seconds to where I can feel it. I can feel the truth.
Right. So I just want to say, I mean, how amazing is it that in just a few minutes, you were feeling stronger, literally feeling stronger.
That was
so
great.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So Janine, do you want to do one more?
If you feel it's okay, I'm happy to.
Great. All right. So everybody, I'm going to go with Naomi. So Naomi, go ahead and let's see. Do the video and the audio, and are you coming in, Naomi? I'm not seeing her come in. And let's see. So let's go to Valerie. Valerie, oh wait. Oh, Naomi came in. Yay. Hi. Do you have your video on so we can see you?
Yeah.
There she is. Yay. All right.
Hi.
Excellent. Good. I love it when technology works. Okay. Take it away, Janine.
Great. Welcome, Naomi. Wonderful to be here with you. Thank you for raising your hand.
I'm similar to Rachel. I think I just had a moment of like, I need to do this. And then I did. And I was like, nobody's going to call me. And then she did. And I was like, oh my God. Oh my gosh. So it is that sense of accountability. So
Right.
thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
allowing me to be present.
Yeah.
So I have been struggling, I would probably say for years, with knowing oneself, being okay with who I am. I know Rachel had mentioned, like, you know, with other people, when, you know, people have judgments, people have opinions, and it's almost like I find identity in that because I'm, I guess, a people pleaser. And I'm trying to veer from that. And it kind of came to heads when I am at work. And it was kind of a moment of like, whoa, this is really not good anymore. And I'm a single mom of 4, and I'm just so sick and tired of not being able to feel like I know who I am, or
Right.
that I know that my worth is. And I've been secretly wanting to go to Sedona for years. And I feel like maybe this is like a moment of really making that realness of what I've wanted to do. And it's becoming more and more real. Like, I don't even know how to explain
Perfect.
it.
Yeah.
I have weird
Yeah.
vibes flowing through me right now, energy wise.
Good. Well, and as thank you for sharing with us. And as a single mother with 4, there's a lot of responsibility in that. And this approach, just being in your heart, it really helps bring your whole energy field. You are the head of your energy. You're the like matrix holder of your family's energy. And in being in a place of the heart, that naturally, without even having to say anything to your children about it or having them know that you're doing anything different, it changes the energy field in your home. And it also, of course, changes the energy field at work. So you've been
Yeah,
feeling.
I just wanted to let you know that my 11-year-old is present.
Yes, lovely. I'm so glad that your 11-year-old is here and able to support you in this and be here. And my youngest is 11 as well. He's still sleeping.
No. Well, she's definitely awake. She's like, I want them to know I'm present. So.
Yes, thank you for joining us. And would you do this technique along with your mom then? Because, you know, I started getting into heart math because I needed it, but actually, as so is the case so often, our children lead us in ways that are leading us to exactly what is needed. It's like in those ways that our children are our teachers. And my son was having tremendous difficulty, a lot of sensitivity, very hypersensitive, and difficulties then in school and class with noise. And I very first started looking into the heart math technique as a technique to use with him to help him learn to regulate and come into a place of coherence, even while there were other children and noises around in school. And so that started when he was in grade 2. And in fact, now heart math is now used in many schools because it has been so scientifically shown as a technique to help kids come into a place of calm and into a place where they can learn, because your heart, mind, and emotions all need to be aligned to be into that ideal place of learning. And so thank you for both being here with us. And we're going to do this technique together.
And what is your name, Naomi's daughter?
Yes, thank you.
Aaliyah. Oh, that's beautiful.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. I love how you're spreading love, Aaliyah, right there with your statement on your shirt. It's beautiful. Okay, so let's come into a place. You may want to close your eyes, only if that feels comfortable for you as you're learning here. And just bring your awareness now to your heart. Imagine now that the breath is flowing into and out of your heart or your chest area. And just breathing a little deeper and a little slower than usual. You may want to breathe in for 4 seconds and out for 4 seconds, but whatever pattern is good for you. And now make a sincere attempt to just bring up a feeling of appreciation or gratitude for someone or something in your life, allowing that memory to come to you and allowing it to really take hold as a feeling tone in the heart. I've been using this technique for so long that when there's a memory I always use of my son when he's 2, when I would hardly see him and he would come running up the driveway to see me when I finally was home from work. And he's 22 now. And so you simply bring up that feeling of appreciation and let it begin to feel like it really opens that heart. Opening the heart further and further, like a lotus flower that opens to accept that lovingness, that loving presence that is actually always around us and within us when we simply open to it. And I want you both to now just be that loving presence, first off, for your own self, turning that appreciation inward, allowing to open up to feel that absolute appreciation and compassion for your own self and for all that you go through every day. Now, from that further place, the radiance of love and compassion within, with the two of you, especially joined together there as one heart, you can be that radiance of compassion and appreciation to all of your family, all in your household. Being that compassion, even beyond your household, to your neighborhood. And expanding it further, just being that radiance of compassion to all those who need it right at this time. Because an open heart is simply a conduit for that divine energy, the presence of the Holy Spirit that's always present here with us. That presence of that infinite love and spirit is always there. Coming into our heart, we're simply opening to be that in whatever way is called for. And now simply bring your awareness back here to the room, being present with all of us here on this call. Naomi.
Okay.
Give that mom a hug.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa. So for me, the awareness that I had a moment of thinking of my oldest daughter. I have all girls. And just something that we were doing yesterday, and her just saying, this was the best day, Mom. And I was just like, I wasn't feeling well. And I was just like, God, I love you so much. And knowing how omnipresent they are with me and how I can be me when I'm with my kids.
Right.
And that is the true center of who I am, like in my heart. And if I can just attach that with being in the realm of everyone else when I'm outside of the presence of my home, and not having that block of separation of having to put on different masks,
Right.
you know?
That's right. It's always safe to unmask when we're coming from our heart, because really when we're in that place of the heart, when we're in that place of authenticity with the truth of what we are, really it doesn't matter what's going on without us, because we always know that that happiness comes from within, and that response from within, we always can surrender everything else and only be responsible for that beautiful and heartfelt intention within. So that was beautiful. And I'm wondering if you might want to do something here with this technique on a daily basis, because you know
Absolutely.
what I do every day when I first wake up in the morning, before I get out of bed, the very first thing I do is I come into this place of my heart. I use this heart coherence. I come into this place of the heart and I feel that energy of lovingness just flowing into my heart with every in-breath, feeling it flow in, and with every out-breath, feeling it flow out, to become one with that infinite presence of love that really is always present, but so many times our minds are blocking it. And I start my day that way every day. That's what I do before I get out of bed. Sometimes it makes it actually almost difficult to get up and start my day, because it's I could want to just stay in that presence of that heart all the time, which I always aim to do.
Right.
But I always start my day that way. And I always end my day that way. Right before I go to sleep, I always come into that place of the heart, turning over everything that happened in the day. I can't control it anymore. It already has happened. And I bring everything back into that place of the heart, aligning everything. And actually, then I turn it over to spirit to say, use my nighttime in any way that serves. Use my nighttime for my own spiritual growth. But I turn myself over using the heart coherence technique before bed. So are you willing to do that? Do you want to try
Yes.
that? Okay.
Yes,
That would be
absolutely.
beautiful.
Like
You're really
I'm,
a blessing. You are a blessing, Naomi. Alea,
thank
you're a blessing.
you. She's talking to you.
How did that make you feel? How did that make you feel, Aaliyah? Did it make you feel a little more peaceful?
A little bit.
She has a sense of nervousy. I know that when she was talking about her son and having that sensitivity, Aaliyah kind of had that present when she was younger. So I think this is kind of a sense of, whoa, like, is this really happening right now for her?
Yeah. That's what it felt like to me. It felt to me like there was a real calm that came to her. So I love that. And I absolutely love it, Naomi, that you were able to experience so much.
Oh my God,
and just
because like I said, I've been wanting to do Sedona for so long. I've been thinking about it, talking about it. I have already spoken to an angel guide, and like I'm trying to mentally make it an awareness. Like, it's so seemingly unreal to the thought of actually going there, but I want it so bad because I want that paradigm shift. I want that shift for myself, to afflict to my kids, to afflict to the world around me. I'm ready.
Well, I will tell you, put out the prayer to the universe, say to the universe, I don't know how this is going to happen. I don't know how it's going to work, but I am going to Sedona and doing a soul adventure. And then when you do this process, and again, and I'm so glad you said this, Janine, because this is the process I do every morning and every evening. I go into deep gratitude for everything. And you might add that and say, thank you for figuring out how I'm going to do my soul adventure. You can add that to the things that you're grateful for. Once you draw that line in the sand and tell the universe, I'm doing this, I don't know how, but you make it happen. The universe will make it happen. And I'm getting chills when I say that. So it feels very, yeah, it feels very, very true. So definitely. And again, doing this in the morning before you wake up, first thing, doing it right before you go to sleep. I'm so glad you brought that up, Janine, because it's so incredibly powerful. And Naomi, while we were doing this, one of our Sedona Soul Adventures grads wrote in the chat to me that she would like to connect with you
Absolutely.
and talk to you about she has a lot of connection with you, she's feeling energetically. So do I have your permission to give
Absolutely.
her,
Yes,
if you've called us, then that means we've got
please.
your email address. So if okay, good, thank you.
Thank you.
I've never had anybody ask that, but that's really
Thank you,
sweet
and thank you,
and very
Janine.
sweet.
Thank you. I'm
So
so
thank
grateful.
you.
Welcome. God
Thank you,
bless
Deborah, for calling on me. I mean, obviously the lining of energy and the spirits just was like, yes, it's time. And
See,
I wasn't ready. And it was like, Deborah, you called my name and I was like, no way. And my daughter's like, Mom. And I was like,
it's you. So this is the part of the manifesting part that this technique can start to have for you, of giving you a belief about whatever it is you want, a belief about, no, I am going to be called on. No, I am happy. I am powerful. I do know who I am. I can speak. I do have my own power. I am doing a soul adventure. I am. So this is the other part of what happens when you go into heart coherence, is that the manifestation part of it is so incredibly beautiful. So really utilize that, because it is just so amazingly powerful.
Thank you.
Yes, Deborah, thank you for mentioning that and to bring us back to that, because really, Naomi and all of those who are on the call, your intention is all powerful. You have no idea how powerful your intention is. Your intention sets the cascade of all possibilities that can happen. Your intention then draws forward and everything can come into alignment with what that intention is. And if things are not seeming to come into alignment, it's because there's some part of you that actually wants something different. So you can always seek to know and use this heart coherence technique to seek and ask that question: what is it within me that is blocking this from manifesting? And so thank you for bringing us back to that, Deborah.
Well,
Thank
and
you,
I just,
Naomi, Alea, thank you.
well, I want to tell Naomi one other thing. Naomi, somebody wrote, Katrina wrote in the chat, she said, I've been wanting to go for 2 years to Sedona and do a Sedona Soul Adventure. And finally my prayers are answered and I'm going in July. Naomi, you can do it. Believe and receive your healing. And I'm getting chills. And that is exactly how it works. So you put your order in with the universe, draw the line in the sand, tell the universe, I'm doing this, use the technique, because it's just an opening to more and more and more. Thank you both so much. Thank you, Alea.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm so grateful.
Oh, I'm so grateful too, Naomi. Thank you. And Janine, I am so full of gratitude for you. I mean, I was, of course, doing the processes along with you. So wonderful. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Beautiful to be part of all the beautiful work at Sedona Soul Adventures, and God bless all of you on the call. And wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So everybody, wow. So it's so interesting. Oh, and Janine, I don't think I told you that I'm interviewing Deborah Rosman this week for who is one of the founders and director of HeartMath.
That is
and
fantastic.
I'm interviewing for the Meeting the Masters that we're doing. And so it won't be shown for a few months because we have so many other people, but I was realizing I'd forgotten to tell you that's happening. So I'm so excited because she's amazing. The process is amazing. And you know, going into coherence with all of this is just so important. So thank you again.
Thank you.
And it also reminded me of that on our Meeting the Masters interview that just went live this past Thursday. It was with Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor talking about when she had a stroke, and she is a she's literally a brain scientist. And what she talks about and talks about in her interview. And by the way, her TED Talk was the very first TED Talk that ever went viral. And it is still one of the top 5 TED Talks that people watch. And my interview with her was so amazing and so much fun. She is so full of joy. But here's this brain scientist who had a stroke. And literally, she talks about how she lost all of her brain function. The only thing that was really going was her heart, and moving her into these incredible bliss states. So that is what happens. So go online and find that interview on our website, because it's just so absolutely amazing. And then I want to talk to you also about, I mean, we've just had so many people today talking about their soul adventure was so great, or I want to do a soul adventure. If you want to talk to an angel guide, you can go on to sedonasouladventures.com/angel, and I'll put that up at the end here, to talk to one of our angel guides. There's no cost or obligation. They'll be talking to you about what would your retreat look like. And I think that you will feel better even just by talking to them. But talking to them, getting an idea of what the soul adventure would do for you is just absolutely so amazing. And then I totally want everyone to be on with us next week, because we're going to have a masterclass unlike any of the other ones. This one will be a channeling with Kuan Yin. And this is with Laura Lee Lysak, who is one of our amazing practitioners. And she is internationally known and recognized. And she simply doesn't do this where she does a free masterclass. And I was actually hesitant to even ask her to do it, but she connected with Kuan Yin, and Kuan Yin said, yes, this is really important, very important to bring these messages to people right now. So that's going to be absolutely amazing next week. Laura is a full-on body channel, meaning that Kuan Yin totally takes her over. Kuan Yin is the bodhisattva of compassion. And so it's going to be an absolutely amazing, amazing time for us next week. So again, I just want to thank Janine, absolutely fantastic. I want to thank all of you for being with us, and so many of you who are with us every week. I just absolutely love that. Please come and be with us, and sending you so much love from Sedona.